Wear your heart on your sleeve? Or do you wear your emotions on your face? Welcome and thank you for joining me today. If you are joining live, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you are watching from. Hey, Amber, great to see you. I am Melody Wilding. I'm an executive coach and author of a book called Trust Yourself, Stop Overthinking and Channel Your Emotions for Success at Work. I am also the creator of a program called Resilient, which is a first of its kind comprehensive coaching program that helps sensitive leaders and high achievers, people I call sensitive strivers, regain their confidence, master their emotions, and turn their sensitivity into a strength so they can get out of their own way. And today is the final day. We are in the final hours of early enrollment for the next round of Resilient that begins in January. There's a QR code in the upper corner of the screen here. So if you're interested in getting the details, you can open your phone, head to the camera app, just scan that QR code, and it'll take you to the page to learn more. We only have about 10 spots left in the program. I only run the program once, maybe twice a year. Plus, as I mentioned, early enrollment is closing in a few hours. That means that the price goes up, that $500 off discount goes away in a few hours. So if you want in, if you want one of those final 10 spots, then head to that QR code here on the screen, upper corner of the screen rather, or you can head to melodywilding.com/resilient. You deserve to stop taking things so personally at work, reading into things. You deserve to speak up more, to reclaim your time, to rebuild your confidence. And that's what Resilient will help you do. It is the only program of its kind designed for you as a sensitive striver. And over the course of 90 days, we have helped hundreds of sensitive strivers over the last 4 years go from feeling crippled by self-doubt, consumed by overthinking, exhausted from overextending themselves, to feeling self-assured, grounded, and like their true self in the workplace. And what makes Resilient so powerful is the combination of curriculum, coaching, and community. So the curriculum has been thoughtfully and carefully crafted and designed by me. We talk about foundations for resilience, helping you gain control over unhelpful thoughts that cause you to overthink and overwork, giving you techniques to manage your emotions more effectively, to help you build emotional strength and manage your energy. We also give you practical ways to tackle some of the biggest challenges you face, whether that's imposter syndrome, making better decisions faster, trusting your judgment, setting boundaries, saying no, regaining your work-life balance. We also talk about self and team leadership. So you'll discover how to stop taking feedback so personally, how to become more assertive, and how to build a presence that gets others to respect you. Now, at the heart of Resilient, though, is our weekly coaching. So on Tuesdays, we have what's called office hours. That is where you get access to me and my co-coach. We help you work through whatever challenges you are facing. Whether that's speaking up, articulating your viewpoints, working with more dominant personality styles. On Thursdays, we have our 90-minute group calls, and that's where we have discussion about insights from the weekly lessons. So we talk about how you can apply and implement what you're learning in the program to your day-to-day role. And throughout the program, through our private community and through those calls, you not only have access to my team's guidance, but you gain a brain trust of intelligent, seasoned, sensitive strivers who are your support network through all of this. And there's lots more. We send a comprehensive workbook to your door. You get our proprietary Strive diagnostic, access to my beloved coaching tools library with lots of exercises and scripts and lots more. So again, the spots are going fast. We only have 10 left. Use that QR code in the corner of the screen. You can also head to melodywilding.com/resilient to learn more. But hurry, because that $500 discount expires today. So there are only a few hours left. All right, now let me say hello to some of you in the chat. Sunita, great to have you. Hassan, Great to have you here. I see folks joining from all over the world. Hello from Los Angeles. Great to see you. Say hello in the chat. Let me know where you are watching from. Now, today we're here to talk about how and when to keep a poker face at work. I want to know if this is something you struggle with. Give me a +1 in the chat if you struggle with keeping a poker face. And to kick things off today, I want to tell you the story of one of our alumni from Resilient. I'll call him Jude. And he was an operations officer at a digital banking company. He was the type of leader everyone loved working for. He was very kind, he was welcoming, he had a knack for connecting with other people, inspiring trust with others. But as an emotional person, as a sensitive striver, Jude often wore his heart on his sleeve. He found it really challenging to hide his emotions, especially during inconvenient or inopportune times. His facial expressions would give away his true feelings, even if it didn't serve him or others. Now, as an executive coach to sensitive strivers, I have witnessed firsthand how your perceptiveness, your attunement to what others need can really be a superpower, how it can create a more positive work environment, trust. And I want to be clear, emotions are an important leadership tool. Joy, enthusiasm, excitement, all of those things can make work more enjoyable. It can motivate people. It can connect people, help them collaborate. All of that is great. But many times sensitive strivers will often ask me, how do I keep a poker face? And I'm seeing in the chat a lot of Amber saying, in general, with everything, and why I'm glad I'm working remote right now. Yes, and hello, Eduardo in Mexico. Great to have you. Bozina in South London. Great to see you here. Now, having a poker face means that you are able to keep your facial expressions neutral and composed, especially in tense, challenging situations or whenever you're having a strong emotional reaction. It's like having a calm exterior, regardless of the storm that's happening around you or even the excitement that you're feeling inside. The most skillful leaders recognize that most of the time it is beneficial to put your feelings on display. But at the same time, there are certain situations where just letting your raw, unfiltered emotions go, that can backfire. And that goes for that story of Jude that I shared earlier. Whether it's during a high stakes meeting, for example, your performance review, any other tense or stressful workplace situation, consciously and carefully and intentionally controlling how you express your reactions can be a big challenge. Again, I want to be clear that maintaining a poker face does not mean you are suppressing your feelings or you are being dishonest. This is not about being emotionless, rather. You might think that having a poker face means you need to be cold and stoic, and that's not the case. It's really about not letting your immediate emotional reactions dictate how other people perceive you, dictate your facial expressions or how you show up and how you come off. It doesn't mean hiding your true self. This is another misconception about what it means to have a poker face, that you're not being authentic. Actually, it's more about choosing how and when you express your emotions in a way that's appropriate for the workplace or appropriate for that situation and what you're trying to achieve. So the bottom line here is that having a poker face comes down to emotion regulation. And that's a really powerful skill. Being aware of your facial expressions, using your body language strategically. Now, you as a sensitive striver might feel your emotions very intensely, and that can show up in your demeanor in more ways than you would like. So learning to maintain a poker face helps in situations where showing too much emotion might be misinterpreted, or it might distract from what you're trying to say, from your core message. It also helps in projecting a more composed and confident image, which of course is important in almost all workplace settings, especially if you are in a leadership role or you're dealing with a tough negotiation, for example. So, why is this such a challenge for us as sensitive strivers? Well, we have a lot of natural empathy and we tend to be naturally more expressive. That's part of what makes you someone who is more sensitive. And that can make maintaining that sort of neutral expression challenging because your instinct is to respond in an emotional way to what is happening around you. And there's also misreading situations. Sometimes you may misread a situation as requiring a more emotional response, or you might struggle with the idea that showing your true feelings could be seen as a weakness, which is not necessarily the case. Now, developing a poker face is a skill. And like any skill, it takes practice. And this is exactly what we do inside of Resilient. That is our 3-month group coaching program for sensitive strivers like you. And again, early enrollment for the January round closes today. Only a few hours left, only a few spots left. So if you want the details, the QR code is in the corner of the screen here. Just take out your phone, head to the camera app. It will pull up the link for you. Or you can head to melodywilding.com/resilient. In this program, we give you concrete tools and strategies to manage your emotions, to help you show up at work and respond to situations in a way you feel proud of, both inside and out. And most importantly, all of this is about finding that balance between being authentic and true to yourself and being professionally composed. So again, if you want the details about Resilient, head to melodywilding.com/resilient or that QR code in the corner of the screen here. Only a few hours left for that $500 discount. So your first tip today for maintaining a poker face is to select situations wisely. Select situations wisely. Someone help me out by typing that in the chat. A poker face is not suitable for every situation, nor should it be the consistent way that you communicate. Concealing too much or too often can make you appear less trustworthy. It can make you seem less competent or less likable because you're not engaging. So often, if you are a leader, your team, your colleagues, your customers, they need to see how you react in order to feel psychologically safe with you and to inform their own decisions. So how do you decide when a poker face is appropriate? I want to give you a few questions here. How do you decide when a poker face is appropriate? And thank you, Amber and Nisha, for helping out with those notes in the chat. Question number 1, how will expressing my emotions help or hinder my goals? If you are trying to build relationships and rapport, well, then using a poker face may come off as insincere or like you're disengaged. Whereas if you're negotiating with someone, then that might be an advantage because you're protecting your position. So that's the first question. How will expressing my emotions help or hinder my goals? Second question to ask yourself is, what is my role in this interaction? What is my role? So for example, if you are leading a meeting, you may want to display more confidence and assertiveness. If you are a participant, you may want to be more open, more receptive. How appropriate is it for me to show vulnerability in this context? That's the third question you can ask yourself. How appropriate is it for me to show vulnerability in this context? So consider the environment that you are operating in. Consider whether the situation calls for a more guarded approach or whether it is appropriate to be more open and transparent, along with your personal style. What feels authentic to you? And the last question to ask yourself to assess whether a poker face, when is the right time for a poker face, is What are the norms of the people or the organization I'm communicating with? Different cultures and groups have different expectations around the expression of emotions. So it is contingent on you. You have to do a bit of your homework to understand who are you communicating with? What type of environment are you entering? And to adjust your behavior accordingly. All right, that is our first strategy, is to select situations wisely and to ask yourself, how will expressing my emotions help or hinder my goals? What's my role in this interaction? How appropriate is it for me to show vulnerability in this context? And what are the norms of the people or the organization I'm communicating with? Second strategy, identify your tells. Help me out by typing that in the chat. Identify your tells. In the game of poker, a tell is a slight change in your behavior that may give away whether you have a good hand or a bad hand. So identifying your tells, maybe it's a physical or a behavioral cue that gives away a certain emotion or intention you have, that can be very useful to help you control or throttle your response and maintain your poker face in appropriate situations. So, as you go about interacting with people throughout your day, step back and try to observe yourself in different contexts. Take note of any patterns when you're calm versus when you're nervous or worried or angry, stressed. Perhaps you run your fingers through your hair when you're anxious. I've seen a lot of people sway or rock in their chairs, or you may avoid eye contact and not look at someone. A long time tell I have personally had to work on is biting or picking at my nails when I am under pressure or I am feeling nervous or unsettled. So, what would your tell be? What is the tell you know you have to work on? Type it in the chat if you are willing. If possible, and if it would be helpful, you can consider recording yourself in different situations and review it for any sort of tells. Maybe you record yourself giving a presentation to a high level group of clients or executives, and you're able to see what you do when you get nervous. Maybe you stumble more, you repeat your words, or you say or ah more. What are your tells? You can also ask a trusted mentor, a colleague, to reflect back patterns they have seen that you may not even be aware of. Yeah, and Amber was saying talking fast, using fillers. Yep, I hear you on that. Okay, so that is our second tip, which is to identify your tells. Third tip, be mindful of your body language. When you choose to use a poker face, you don't want to be just a cold, stoic statue. You'll be more successful if you maintain a touch of warmth. So take a few slow, deep breaths, help calm your emotions. Imagine releasing all the tension from your face so you're not gripping and tensing. That could mean loosening your jaw, moving your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Pay attention to when you are nervous or stressed. I bet you will notice that your tongue is almost pressing at the roof of your mouth more often than you realize. Try softening your gaze rather than sort of intently gazing at something. Just try blurring that a little bit. If you're feeling tense or anxious, you may inadvertently narrow your eyes or stare at something. So try focusing your vision on a point in the distance to relax your eye muscles. Now, maintaining a poker face also means being conscious of your tone of voice. So you want to speak low, speak a little slower than you might normally. You can reduce your rate of speech, which, as Amber was talking about, speaking more quickly if you feel angry or feel fearful, nervous. Speak from your diaphragm, your lower abdomen, to produce a deeper, more resonant voice. You literally get more air out so you can push your voice further. Find neutral phrases that move the conversation forward, but don't necessarily give away what you're thinking. Few of mine are, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Right? It's very neutral. Or help me understand XYZ. All right. So that is our third tip. Be mindful of your body language. Okay. Next, interrupt your inner eruption. I'm going to say that one again. Interrupt your inner eruption. The better you can self-regulate, the easier it will be to express your emotions in a way that you feel proud of. You can practice responding, not reacting, by calming your nervous system. So maybe you try a grounding technique. Maybe you try counting backwards from 100 as you breathe. Maybe you identify 5 things in the room that are a certain color, blue, pink. Maybe you try a small, what's the word I'm looking for? A small body relaxation where you're clenching and releasing your muscles. Perhaps you try visualization. Maybe you imagine sort of a peaceful, calming scene for yourself, a beach, a little reading nook. You try to picture yourself in that environment. Now, remember, having a poker face does not mean suppressing your emotions or being robotic. It's about being mindful of your facial expressions and your body language in order to communicate effectively. So trust in your ability to stay cool, to stay calm, to be collected, no matter what challenges are thrown your way. So let's go over those steps one more time. We had select situations wisely. Not every situation calls for a poker face, so you want to be strategic about that. Number 2 is to identify your tells. What is your nervous giveaway? Be mindful of your body language. Don't just be a cold, stoic statue. Have that little bit of warmth. And the last was interrupt your inner eruption. Interrupt your inner eruption. So self-regulate, calm your nervous system. Okay, we have a question here. What if you really can't stand slow speech? I'm not talking about slowing down your speech to the point of people getting frustrated that you're talking so slow. But as Amber pointed out, many times when we get nervous, we speed up our speech or we start repeating things or talking in circles, for example. So just slow yourself down enough so that you're conscious that you're being intentional with what you are saying. Now, if you have ever wished that you could get out of your own way at work, that you could quiet that inner chatter in your mind to feel strong and confident instead of insecure, then you're going to want to join us inside of Resilient. That is our 3-month group coaching program for sensitive strivers. The next round starts in January, but early enrollment closes today. So again, it is your final hours to get that $500 off discount. And like I said, we only have about 10 spaces still left as of when I got on this call. Now, our alumni say Resilient is transformational, life-changing. That is their words, not mine. It has helped hundreds of sensitive strivers like you achieve skip level bonuses, skip level promotions, 6-figure bonuses to become happier, more secure in themselves. And Felix asked, what is the start date for the program in January? We begin January 18th, so Thursday, January 18th. But ahead of that, if you were to register with us now, you will get access to the classroom. We have lots of prior recordings, trainings, workshops that you can start diving into between then and now. And you can also start communicating with the community. We'll onboard you rather to our private community for sensitive strivers so you can start connecting anyone. You can start connecting with them. Someone asked, what tip would you give to regulate the inner eruption? So I mentioned the grounding techniques, counting backward from 100, identifying 5 things in the room that are a certain color, doing that progressive relaxation. You can also do visualization, imagining a calming space. Try to picture yourself in that environment. Now, if you want 2024 to be your year to build solid confidence so you can make clear and rational decisions, to feel safe disconnecting from work, to allow yourself to rest and have a life outside of work, to break free from people pleasing that keeps you saying yes too much and keeps you overextended, to tackle disagreements and conflict with more ease, to show up as a high profile candidate for new opportunities. All of this and much, 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 much more is possible inside of Resilient. Again, today is the final day for that $500 off, for that early bird rate. So we would love to see you inside. The QR code, again, is here in the upper corner of the screen, or you can head to melodywilding.com/resilient. Hope to see you inside. Hope this was helpful today. I'm looking forward to hearing what your takeaways were from today in the comments, and I will be back very soon. Take care, everyone.